Welcome back. Today, we're going to swap our lab coats for explorer hats because we are heading out on an adventure to map one of the most important processes in the modern world. Let's get right into it.
That's right, think of this as a field trip. And this isn't just any old journey. It's a 6-stop tour that shows you how to turn confusing, messy data into brilliant, smart decisions. It's kind of like a roller coaster ride for data detectives.
So, to get us started, let's think about a simple mystery. I mean, why does the school cafeteria always seem to run out of pizza on Fridays? It sounds like a small thing, right? But this is exactly the kind of problem data analytics is built to solve. It's all about finding clear answers that are hiding in plain sight.
So how do we solve our pizza problem? Well, we need a map. And that's exactly what the Data Analytics Lifecycle is. It's a structured 6-phase guide that pros use to get from a messy question to a clear, actionable answer. And you know, this map isn't some rigid one-way street. The whole process is iterative, which just means you can jump back to a previous step if you find something new. It's flexible. And maybe most importantly, it's a total team sport. Okay, but before we start our 6-stop journey, we have to understand the terrain. And in data analytics, that terrain is a vast, enormous mountain called big data. To climb it, we've got to understand its 4 key features. First up is variety. See, data isn't just neat rows and columns in a spreadsheet anymore. Oh no, it's everything. It's emails, videos, social media posts, you name it. It is incredibly diverse. Next, we've got velocity. Just think about how fast new information gets created. We're talking about a constant, high-speed flood of data, kind of like messages popping up on your phone nonstop, 24/7. Then there's veracity. Now, this one is absolutely crucial. Is the data we're looking at actually true? I mean, think about it. If your clues are fake, you're never going to solve the mystery, right? Veracity is all about making sure our information is accurate and trustworthy. And finally, volume. This one's pretty simple. There is an unimaginable amount of data out there. We're talking about actual mountains of information, so much that we measure it in things like terabytes and petabytes. All right, now that we have a feel for this mountain of data, it's time to start our climb. Our very first stop on the journey is phase 1, discovery. This is the starting point for every great data adventure, and it begins with one simple question: what's really going on here? During discovery, the team pretty much acts like detectives. They dive deep to really understand the business. They clearly define the problem, like our pizza shortage, and then they form some initial hypotheses, which are really just educated first guesses. Getting this step right is so important, because a poorly defined problem can send the entire project off in the wrong direction. So, on to our second stop. We've got our mission, but the data we need? Well, it's almost always a mess. This brings us to phase 2, data preparation, which I like to call the clean up the mess phase. In this phase, the team creates what's called a sandbox. It's basically a safe playground where they can work with data without breaking anything important. They pull data from all these different places, clean it up, fix errors, and load it into their system. It's a lot like washing and prepping your ingredients before you start cooking. It's not glamorous, for sure, and it often takes up the most time, but it is absolutely essential for getting accurate results. Our data is now clean and ready to go. So what's next? We need a plan. And that brings us to our third stop, model planning. This is the strategic phase, where the team decides on their tools and basically writes the recipe for success. So here, the team chooses the right analytical method, or model, to use. Just think of a model as a specific recipe for finding an answer. They decide which pieces of data or variables, like day of the week or number of students, are the most important ingredients for that recipe. A solid plan here makes all the difference later. Okay, we have our ingredients and we have our recipe. Now it's time for the magic to happen. We've arrived at the 4th stop on our journey, model execution. This is where the team actually builds the machine that's going to find our answer. This slide really gets to the heart of data science. The team splits their data into 2 parts. They use the first part, the training data, to teach the model. It's kind of like giving it a practice test. Then they use the second part, the testing data, to see if the model actually learned the right things. This is where the computer does what it does best, finding hidden patterns that we could never see on our own. The model has run, and we have our results. But here's the thing. Numbers on a screen don't actually change anything in the real world. That's why our 5th stop, communicating results, is so incredibly important. It's time to tell the story of what we found. So in this phase, the team figures out the key findings. Did we solve the pizza mystery? What's the one big thing we discovered? Their job is to translate these complex results into a simple, compelling story. The real skill here is tailoring that story to the audience, so everyone from the CEO down to the cafeteria manager can understand it and, more importantly, act on it.
And here we are, our final destination. We found the answer, we've told the story, now it's time to make it a permanent part of how things get done. Welcome to Phase 6, Operationalization, where a cool idea becomes a real-world tool.
This is where the project really delivers its long-term value. Instead of just a one-time report, the team builds a system that can run automatically. They hand over the final code, run a pilot test, and get the solution up and running. So now the pizza mystery isn't just solved once, the cafeteria has a tool to help prevent it from ever happening again.
Of course, this whole adventure is not a solo mission. No way! It takes a whole team. You've got the data scientist, who is our master detective finding all the patterns. Then there's the data engineer, the architect who builds the data playground. The project manager is the guide, keeping everyone on track. And maybe most important of all, the end user, the person who actually uses the final discovery to make better decisions. So, let's wrap up our adventure with a quick cheat sheet. Remember, the life cycle has 6 phases. It's iterative and it's team-driven. Big data has those 4 V's. But if you only take away one thing, make it this. The ultimate goal is always, always to turn raw data into real-world action. And just like that, we've completed our field trip. We started with a simple question about pizza, and we ended with a powerful framework you can use to solve almost any problem. The map is officially in your hands. So the only question left is, what mystery are you going to solve?